The swamp creatures are in full panic mode. Trump's transition team just dropped a thermonuclear bomb on the deep state's playbook. No more compromised GSA phones. No more corrupted computers. No more playing by their rules. Led by incoming Chief of Staff Susie Wiles, Trump's team has signed a transition agreement, but here is the twist. They're completely bypassing the deep state's infrastructure. Meanwhile, DOJ lawyers are already drafting resignation letters. The DNC is laying off staff nationwide, and Trump's favorability has hit a stunning 54%. So now we're about to expose how the president-elect's team is outmaneuvering the bureaucratic beast. And in an age where deep state operatives lurk in every digital shadow, protecting your devices isn't optional, it's crucial. That's why I trust VirtualShield Antivirus Pro. While Trump's team avoids compromised government systems, you need the same level of protection for your devices. VirtualShield's real-time protection blocks malicious attacks before they reach you, just like Trump's team is blocking deep state interference. Don't wait until it's too late. Visit virtualshield.com/nextnews for a risk-free 7-day trial and save up to 75% during their Black Friday special. Because when it comes to security, second chances don't exist. Now, let's get into this one. Lots to cover here. Now, as we were getting organized, getting ready to present all this, this just broke. Trump has now selected Dr. J. Bhattacharya as director of National Institute of Health. He was hugely outspoken during the COVID pandemic against establishment medical policies. Now, there was some pushback over who Trump had picked. Was it for the CDC just recently? And this might be an answer to that. And I'm happy to see this. I'm very happy to see this. Even Jeffrey Tucker, you guys know who he is? He says, whatever happens now, there's a beautiful poetic justice with the ascendance of Dr. J. Bhattacharya to the position of the man at NIH who called him a fringe epidemiologist and triggered a grotesque tech and economic boycott of his ideas. Let the new era begin. And also this, Liz Churchill posted this 3 hours ago. Dr. Bhattacharya, who argued that lockdowns harm children, was placed on a Twitter blacklist, which prevented his tweets from being seen. So Barry Weiss brought this out and revealed it, that this person who's now heading the National Institute of Health, he is on our team. Now, I'm not sure if you're paying attention about what's going on with Rudy Giuliani, but this video really hit me. This hit me hard today. I'm not sure if you've seen it, but you need to see just this is the damage that they have done to people. Okay, now Donald Trump, the man's a billionaire. He's got infrastructure, he's got buildings. He's I hate to say it, but he can take the blows, and he's shown it. But Rudy Giuliani's a different person. Okay, he's not a billionaire like Trump. And when the deep state attacked him, they went double barrels on him. And this is what he's saying now.
Reality is, I have no cash. It's all tied up. So right now, if I wanted to call a taxi cab, I can't do it. I don't have a credit card. I don't have a checking account. I have no place I can go take cash out except a little bit that I saved, and it's getting down to almost nothing. I have a business. I can do business expenses, but I'm very careful about that because God forbid I should make a mistake between a personal and a business expense. Unlike Hunter Biden, I go to jail right away.
So Rudy Giuliani, a victim of the deep state attacks, he is in a lot of pain, and we need to figure out a way to help him. Now, as we continue to track the administration's transition, new information is coming out that the Kamala Harris campaign, they knew her campaign was doomed. Rasmussen reports showed this internally, it looked like something like this, that Trump was winning everywhere. They knew this. The Kamala Harris campaign knew these numbers. These were their internal numbers, but they continued to gaslight the American people. And Kamala Harris, she's finally come out of hiding. She's off her vacation now, and she's supposedly back at work. And I'm going to show you, okay, before I get to what she actually said here. All right. Before I get to the memes that are floating around. Oh, what the hell? Let's just show you the memes. Let's go to the memes. Let's go straight to the memes.
Don't you ever let anybody take your power from you. You have the same power that you did before November 5th. And you have the same purpose that you did.
Okay, so that's obviously a clip. Someone put that together, and it's quite funny. And that's the first thing I thought when I saw her, when I saw the original that was floating around. I know I've got it here. But with respect to, here, look at this guy, Tim Walz. He's now coming out saying it's scary that Americans resoundingly rejected him and Kamala.
Out there. I know it's incredibly disappointing now. And look, candidly, it's a bit scary because there's a very different vision that's being put out there. I know it's...
Yeah, you should be scared. You should be scared. Okay. Let's find that clip. There is the full clip here. Sometimes these don't always show up the way I want them to. But that's okay. Speaking of the DNC, Kamala Harris, did you know that they've now laid off most of their staffers across the country without any notice? And now they've actually set up a GoFundMe account.
The Trump team is the organizer of this DNC union GoFundMe says we are heartbroken to see our colleagues who dedicated countless hours to electing Democrats up and down the ballot depart under these circumstances, and we are furious with DNC leadership for failing to provide severance to those affected. As they fundraise, the Trump team is filling out their cabinet. The president-elect is reportedly trying to place Kash Patel in a high-ranking DOJ or FBI job. And Elon Musk, who is hiring right now with Vivek Ramaswamy for the DOGE government waste project, is said to be on the lookout for an AI czar. Back to you.
Hey, Peter, got a quick question for you. Given the fact that the Democrats had an epic loss in the race for that building behind you, the DNC union people didn't see layoffs coming where they were going to get 1 day's notice?
Doesn't sound like it, no. And they are about $16,000 of a $25,000 goal. It doesn't seem like they're that people who donated a lot of money for months, even just $10, $15 at a time on those recurring payments that you get the text messages about constantly in an election season. It doesn't seem like there's much of an appetite for people to open their wallets again for that, or for the Harris campaign that now needs Tim Walz to go out and ask for help.
You know, how many people were fired? I know it was 2/3. Do we know the exact number? Because I feel like $25,000 to help people pay their rents and their bills is not that much if it's hundreds of people.
If you got to split it.
They're saying that the $25,000 is temporary because they still think they're going to be able to get some kind of money out of the DNC or some kind of unemployment assistance. And so it's temporary. They had a protest at Union Station yesterday. It was pretty small.
Yeah. Peter, why'd you wear that necktie today? Did you see me do the tease at...
The organizer of this DNC...
So let's check in, shall we? Should we check in on how this fundraiser is going? Yeah, we got the link here. Wow, these are all out of order today. Unreal. Okay, hang on. We'll get to it. Okay, here it is. This is the GoFundMe for the DNC staff. Here it is. Let's go and check it out. All right, here we go to the GoFundMe. Support the DNC staff. Layoff Relief Fund. Only 153 donations. They haven't even reached their goal yet. Wow. $17,000, almost $18,000 of a $25,000 goal. DNC staff union layoff relief fund. Last week, 2/3 of the DNC staff was laid off with little notice and no severance. We're heartbroken to see our colleagues who dedicated countless hours electing Democrats up and down the ballot to part under these circumstances. We're furious with DNC leadership for failing to provide severance to those affected. That's how the DNC looks at you. You're worthless, and they're just going to cut you off because you did what they needed you to do. Bye-bye. They can't even raise the money. Speaking of January 20th, what's coming up here? The DOGE, Wall Street MAV, here's something that needs to be cut on January 20th. Taxpayers have spent $15 million on security services for Dr. Anthony Fauci in the past 2 years after he had already returned to life as a private citizen. That's according to a new report. Waste of the day. Fauci still getting chauffeur and security detail. Kamala Harris campaign just admitted their internal polling never showed her ahead of Trump. The whole thing was fabricated. We knew that. We were covering the whole campaign. It was all AstroTurf. They were paying influencers. They were paying people to come to the DNC. Tens of thousands of dollars. I mean, $1 million to Oprah's company, $500,000 to Al Sharpton's nonprofit. And he didn't even disclose it to MSNBC. MSNBC supposedly didn't even know that his nonprofit got, what was it, $400,000, $500,000 right before the interview? That's how twisted these people are. Imagine being the people donating to the DNC Staff Relief Fund. You can't make this up. They really started a GoFundMe for staff. How pathetic that Kamala and the Dems spent $1 billion and can't even take care of staff workers. GoFundMe for fired DNC staff is mocked into sweet oblivion on social media, according to The Blaze. Oh, yes. And speaking of government waste, Elon Musk posted this. A friend of mine had a meeting with a senior official at SEC. They hadn't been in the building for so long, they couldn't even figure out how to turn the lights on. They were there sitting in the dark with cell phone flashlights looking like demented burglars. Steve Moore. I go to these big federal buildings and it's almost like they're haunted. It's spooky. There's nobody there. Nobody shows up. It's ridiculous. Elon Musk and Vivek want to stop that. Incoming White House Chief of Staff Susie Wiles says the memorandum of understanding has now been filed between Trump-Vance transition team and the Biden White House. It has been signed. So the transition is moving forward. They still have to count and certify each state election results on January 6th. However, the transfer of power has officially begun. So landing teams, critical preparation, they're going to be going into these departments and basically taking in all the information so there's a smooth transition of power. Now, before there's something, this is what's really, really interesting about this whole thing. Okay? This is what is really wild. We have okay. This is according to The Last Refuge, 7 hours ago. Trump says his transition team will not use government resources because they want to save money. Okay? Hans Manke says that. Last Refuge says they will not use telephones, computers, or technology provided by deep state GSA in order to prevent a repeat of this. Now, what is this? Okay. And it's fine print, and I'm going to try to read it for you. We discovered the unauthorized disclosures by the GSA on December 12th and December 13th of 2017, when we learned that Special Counsel's office had received certain laptops and cell phones containing privileged materials, we initially raised our concerns with Brendan Van Grack in the special counsel's office on December 12th. Van Grack confirmed that the special counsel's office had obtained certain laptops, cell phones, and at least one iPad from the GSA. He assured us the special counsel's investigation did not recover any emails or other relevant data from that hardware. During the exchange, namely that the special counsel's office had simultaneously received the GSA's tens of thousands of emails, including very significant volume of privileged material, and special counsel's office was actively using those materials without any notice to TFA. So what does this mean? The GSA, who supplies the technology for this transition team, they just handed everything over to Robert Mueller. They just gave it to him. No warrants, no, just hey, give it to us. So what Trump is doing now and his team, they're like, no, we're not playing that game again. We're putting a wall up right now. We're going to use our own stuff. We don't need you. But they say here, it's to save money, right? Is it really, though? Trump says the transition team will not use government resources because they want to save money. However, this is merely a smoke screen. What really happens to Trump has learned from past experiences, particularly what they did to General Flynn during the previous transition, as well as the fake briefing Trump got from Comey, which was used as a pretext to weaponize the Russia collusion hoax. This time, there will be no involvement from deep state operatives, no bureaucratic hindrances, and most importantly, no spying. Now look at this here. The transition will not use government buildings or technology provided by GSA and will operate as a self-sufficient organization. This organizational autonomy means streamlined process that guarantees the Trump administration is ready on day one. The transition is already excised security, the transition team has existing security and information protections built in, which means we will not require additional government and bureaucratic oversight. Okay? They are not going to play that game again. If the GSA is so willing to hand over anything at any time, they're preparing for any attack that could be forthcoming. Because the deep state's going to strike again. That's what they do. They're not just going to walk away quietly. They're going to find something, some reason to investigate, and they're going to demand all the communications, and the GSA is going to hand it over, but not this time. Now they would actually have to get subpoenas for the private devices that they're using. So this is really, really smart of them. And on top of that, President Trump wants to hire an AI czar to help implement the technology and improve functions of government. AI can never replace hardworking people. It will only replace government bureaucrats. Elon won't be the czar because of his DOGE schedule. We'll see about that. Now, we're also learning this. Actually 2 days ago, Pam Bondi is now going to be the AG. And, quote, as AG, my first official action will be to investigate the Epstein and Diddy lists. It's a major win. So we're hoping to see what comes out of that. But there's still some talk of recess appointments. Jan Jeklinick, recess appointments clause power. It exists in the Constitution. Hundreds of federal officials have been confirmed using it. Let's listen to this for a moment.
The impact, the effectiveness of.
For a lot of the history of the Republic, the nominees of the president, both to serve in the executive branch and the nominees of the president to serve in the judicial branch, sailed through relatively quickly. It's a lot of red tape that's been added. Like my confirmation took 14 months. It's like night and day from the process that drafters of the Constitution intended.
As part of our special series on the U.S. presidential transition period, I'm sitting down with Jeff Clark, Assistant Attorney General at the Justice Department during the previous Trump administration, and now Senior Fellow and Director of Litigation at the Center for Renewing America. What are recess appointments? Why is Trump so interested in them? Are there legal or historical precedents for them? And how could they impact the effectiveness of this coming administration? This is American Thought Leaders, and I'm Yanya Kellick.
So recess appointments are still on the table. We found that video for you. It was very hard to watch. The Democrats actually posted this. I don't know why they would want to post this, but they did. 7 million views.
I just have to remind you, don't you ever let anybody take your power from you. You have the same power that you did before November 5th. And you have the same purpose that you did. And you have the same ability to engage and inspire. So don't ever let anybody or any circumstance take your power from you.
Well, we just took the power from you. How about that? Apparently the full version is about 10 minutes long. Not going to subject you to that. Benny Johnson posted 6 hours ago the full video. Kamala Harris addresses supporters 3 weeks after her humiliating loss to Trump. In painfully cringe 10-minute rant where she brags about wasting over $1.4 million in donor money. Also this, breaking news, Trump insiders are saying a large number of lawyers at the Department of Justice are planning to submit their resignation letters once President Trump takes office. Fine, take the trash out yourself. Okay, this is great. It's kind of like what we learned about with Robert Kennedy Jr.'s appointment. That all these people in Health and Human Services are going to just take the trash out themselves. Perfectly fine with me. All this while CNN is calling for X to be censored and moderated because people are allowed to say what they want. Really?
So platforms are not regulated right now, which gives them carte blanche to whatever they want right now. Elon is not someone who likes to be regulated. And so to buy MSN, he would go under some federal regulations.
Who's regulating CNN right now?
The FCC.
We're not a broadcast. It's cable.
I mean, I don't really think cable stations are under the same regulatory structure
that public airways.
that broadcast is.
It's definitely regulated more than than Facebook and
there's
Twitter.
Still what she's saying is that there's still a litmus test of journalism that you have to pass. You can't come on TV and just make up things and say things. That happens on X.
That's what they do on CNN all day long. And she says that's what they do on X.
Make up things and say things. That happens on X. Please don't give me the eyebrow furrow as if you don't know what I'm talking about. It happens often on X. I can go and say the color is blue and I will be met with so many disrespectful remarks. No one's regulating the N-word. No one's regulating the criticism. No one is regulating how people are treated.
How much government regulation of the First Amendment are you for?
Let me tell you something. If I came on here and I just started calling you all kind of names, do you think the bosses would let me continue to do that?
I mean, it happens to me occasionally. I don't know if you watch
it doesn't happen to you, but it doesn't happen for me. And I know that I wouldn't be able to do that. There's a level of professionalism in what we do here because we are journalists and we adhere to something, at least morally. And there is no moral compass on this thing called
You're also having...
Actually, there is. It's called community notes, honey. Hate to break it to you. Don't worry. I'm sure you'll get your community note very soon. We got a huge surge in consumer confidence, stock market expectations hitting record highs, according to Zero Hedge, which is also good news. Donald Trump's accomplishments before taking office. Before Mexico agrees to end migrant caravans. Canada closes border, ends illegal immigration. America's stock market, Bitcoin, hit record highs. China stock market crash. Xi Jinping begs for peace with America. Companies move production back to the U.S. Putin backs selling of oil in U.S. dollars. Putin no longer targets the dollar. Zelensky agrees to peace talks. EU shifts to buying U.S. gas. Hamas agrees to end war now. Ceasefire in Israel and Lebanon. Illegal aliens are self-deporting across the country. Corrupt government bureaucrats retiring en masse. Government censorship regime collapsing. Democrat lawfare atomized. Trump at plus 65% approval rating. We are moving into the golden era. All this is happening right now. This was published a couple days ago. I wanted to bring it all to your attention. Federal government agencies, this was posted by the DOGE. Federal government agencies are using on average, just 12% of the space in their DC headquarters. When I saw this post 6 days ago, I was actually sitting in bed, and I'm just like scrolling X, and Angie, she's next to me, and I go, "Oh my goodness, I can't believe this." And she's like, "What? And I showed her, and she couldn't believe it. I'd never seen the figures like this. 12% of the space in their DC headquarters, Department of Agriculture space for more than 7,400 people, average 456 workers each day, 6% occupancy. Why are American taxpayer dollars being spent to maintain empty buildings? Nearly 90% of federal office space in DC going to waste. 90% going to waste. Kamala Harris. I posted this 21 hours ago. Elon Musk does electric cars and trucks, underground tunnels, satellite internet systems, not flamethrowers, defends free speech, shit posts on X all day, builds humanoid robots, implants brain chips, makes rockets for Mars, embarrasses Boeing, campaigns for Trump, and plans to buy MSNBC, and now he's set to slash $2 trillion in government waste alongside Vivek and Ron Paul for the next presidency. Where does he find all the time to do that? Oh, wait, probably because the robots he builds are running half of it for him. Tulsi Gabbard, she is in the running. She has been appointed. Of course, she is under massive attack. We're going to get to that. But speaking of DOGE, here is Dallas's very own Jasmine Crockett doing us proud, explaining how she says DOGE is going to cost money.
When you look, don't let it be lost on you that they are talking about getting rid of wasting money while creating a new agency to somehow get rid of wasting money, right? Like, it's a joke. And honestly, I think this is really more so about self-dealing. When you look at the amount of contracts that someone like Elon Musk has had with the federal government, when you look at Vivek, these are guys who have benefited from federal contracting. And honestly, I think that they are looking for additional ways to enhance themselves, while at the same time probably minimizing oversight and those that would actually say there is a conflict, this is a problem, and no, this should not happen. I honestly think that this subcommittee is going to try to stop the work of those Democrats like my ranking member, Jamie Raskin, from making sure that we're keeping oversight over Donald Trump and his business dealings when it comes to dealing with folks like China and other countries that right now are not necessarily on the top of our friends list.
Mara, one might argue that there is a pattern here, which is there's like the seedling of a thing that does have popular agreement, right? That there needs to be a reckoning with bureaucracy generally. That even as the Congresswoman said, there already is a committee that is supposed to be rooting out waste and abuse. And that to see that done in a proper, holistic, thoughtful way might actually have the support of the American people. To simply take a wrecking ball to the federal government is not the same thing.
Well, it's not the same thing. And I actually think the Congresswoman brought up a really interesting point in terms of how this DOGE or DOGE, I don't know what we've gone with, might function separately, which is essentially not only is it just loyal to Donald Trump, but it's creating government bureaucracy for the express purpose of punishing political enemies, potentially, and also rewarding political friends. So what kind of contract authority is it going to have? What kind of transparency is it going to have? I mean,
okay, I'll tell you. They've already explained it. They're going to have a website, and they're going to list all the crazy stuff the government spends money on. And we're going to be able to see it in real time. And we'll be able to upvote and downvote it all. Oh, I can't wait to cover that. Oh, it's going to be so fun. So she's complaining about transparency and more bureaucracy. Well, there is going to be oversight. Marjorie Taylor Greene has already said she's going to be head of the subcommittee. So there's that. It's not operating like it's some rogue bureaucracy. Okay? You got Vivek, you got Ron Paul, Elon Musk. All right, they're going to be making a list, checking it twice, and they're going to find out who is naughty and nice. All right? And some of those folks are going to get coal for Christmas. Well, you know what I mean. Biden hitting a 61% disapproval rating, a new low for the lame duck as he is leaving office. But President Trump's favorability rating is now a new high, 54%, according to Emerson. Trump is certainly learning from the first presidency. You don't trust the deep state to bring you to dinner unless you have a food taster on hand. Trump is not using the GSA for the transition because last time around, GSA turned over all of Trump's personal records to Mueller without so much as a warrant. So that is how he is like insulating himself. And I thought this was great. This is Elon Musk and Kai Trump. This was posted 10 hours ago. And you rarely get to see these candid moments. You know, we're talking about Elon Musk. We're talking about DOGE. And I just thought this was really cool because it was such a candid, captured moment. Here's
payload.
That's good.
Yeah.
What's the G-forces going up if you were to go to man? Is it too much for a person to handle?
No, it's fine.
It's okay.
Yeah, like 5 Gs.
Okay, that's fine.
It's fine, yeah. The boost back burn is doing 20 Gs, so you wouldn't want to be on that.
You wouldn't want to do the flip, yeah.
No.
What did you say the top speed was?
For this flight, it'll do about 17,000 miles an hour. But for going to Mars, you'd go much faster than that. So maybe 35,000. Depends on how fast you want to go to Mars, but maybe 35,000 miles an hour.
What's the quickest time frame to get to Mars with our current technology?
If you want to maximize payload, it takes 6 months. You could potentially get it down to like 3 or 4 months if you're willing to sacrifice payload.
Okay. Does the weight matter once you're in space as much or not really?
You've got to accelerate mass to a velocity to basically the Mars transfer velocity.
So there's a cost benefit of getting it going.
If you have less payload, you can go faster. That's cool. In the beginning, we'd maximize payload to be like 6 months. Like long term, you can definitely get it below 3 months. So, yeah.
Cool. Fantastic. Let's go see it. Let's do it.
Thank you for having me. I was like,
It's amazing.
And I told her she was just crying.
What's pretty exciting? I mean, it's one of the most epic things that humans have done.
Oh, for sure.
What's harder, this or Greater Rifts in Diablo?
This is much harder.
Did you ever play Fortnite?
No. But I did play Quake and a bunch of other first-person shooters.
What about League? Did you play League?
Is that X?
League, if I start playing League, it will damage the space program.
Yeah, it's first, right?
Yeah, it's cool. It's awesome. It's an honor to have President here.
That's good.
Yeah.
What's the cool is that? It's a little behind-the-scenes stuff with Elon Musk. But the guy's a freaking genius, man. Like, just rattling off those figures. I mean, like, I'm happy that he is heading up DOGE. This is awesome. All these things are happening, friends. As a GoFundMe is set up for Kamala Harris's fired DNC staffers. All of them let off. DNC staff union layoff relief fund. Have they made any more money since we started this? Any more? 153 donations. 17,966. Scroll it back. I don't know. I don't think they've made very much. So $15 million is what they're paying for Fauci's security. Elon Musk, he says the goal of DOGE is to speed run fixing the federal government requires many anomalies in the matrix. Speaking of Elon Musk, the FCC has officially approved Starlink's license for its direct-to-cell program. Starlink satellites will be able to broadcast directly to your mobile devices. There will be no dead zone anywhere in the world for your cell phone. Wow. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Here is, okay, so Sebastian Gorka discussing Jack Smith. Now, you know Jack Smith, that whole thing has collapsed as well. And he says this is the death of Jack Smith's career. Let's listen.
The same very day. He wasn't working for the DOJ. He was parachuted in from the International Criminal Court. That's illegal. You can't do that. You've got to be on the DOJ list inside the building to become a special prosecutor. And as my source told me today, because he sent me the original motion, and then he sent me Judge Chutkan's response this afternoon. You never see this unless a judge is bored or totally broken by the likes of President Trump. You never get the response to the motion the same very day. This is the death of Jack Smith's career. It's over. Put a fork in it. It's done. He has been broken by Donald Trump, his attorneys, and the MAGA movement. This absolute political assassin is no more. His mission to go against the writ of the American people has failed. To quote my former boss and my God willing, my future boss, he failed bigly.
Now, speaking of Sebastian Gorka, here is Candace Owens, and I am with her.
What? Instead, we now have Pam Bondi. I don't know how that's going to be. I'm not feeling great about a lot of people that Trump has suddenly picked. I mean, Seb Gorka. What? This guy literally would send every single one of our children to die in Ukraine tomorrow. He's like a rabid lunatic who just wants once called Tucker a Putin puppet for what? Not wanting to fight Ukraine's wars. We've got neocons back in town, and it is very concerning to me. And listen, I'm going to be one of those individuals that does hold Trump's feet to the fire. I don't understand this like sycophantic culture where you're like, we can't say anything bad about it. It's like, no, we don't want people like Seb Gorka. We don't want people like Marco Rubio. This is not why we all fought to get him into office. So I'm just going to leave that at that.
Yeah, we regardless, we have to. They're all government officials. They're all being appointed, and we have to hold everyone's feet to the fire. That is our responsibility as Americans in this republic. Okay? And speaking of appointments, RFK, he is going to be running the Health and Human Services Department. And I thought this is in line with some of the stuff I hope that he brings to attention with the FDA and all these other things. I didn't know this. All right. Wall Street Apes posted this just 12 hours ago. A man who lives in Sweden at a store similar to our world market sells food from all over the world. He shows that U.S. candy is actually labeled with a warning on the back of each item.
And concentration. I'm in a store here in Sweden. We have very strict food regulations what should and not should be put in food or edibles in Europe. So I went to this place called Matvärden. Here they have this USA shelf, and I looked at Airheads. On the back of Airheads you can see warning labels. Contains ACO colorants that can have negative effect on child's behavior and concentration. So, American candy comes with warning labels here in Europe. I'm in a store here in Sweden. We have very strict food regulations.
So I'm hoping that RFK will help get rid of some of these nasty things in our American food supply. When I saw this, they should make companies do this just for the fun of it. If it ain't Bobby approved, we ain't buying it. On the back, it's got Bobby frowning, and this is good. Oh, Bobby's smiling. Bobby approved. No good. Oh, avocado oil? Yay, Bobby approved. Can't believe it's not butter? No, Bobby says. Irish butter? Yes, Bobby approved. Yeah, that's where we need to go, and I hope that he does this. So, the Trump transition is underway. And again, we still have to hold these people's feet to the fire, no matter what. And let's go back to that Tulsi Gabbard clip I was going to play earlier.
I think it's offensive. Tulsi Gabbard, another pick, not necessarily direct military. She's going to be the director of national intel. The usual Democratic defamers have really been hard on her, suggesting she's a Russian asset, et cetera. What do you make of all that, quickly?
It's disgraceful that they're impugning somebody who, once again, served her country in combat. I've known Tulsi for years. She was a congresswoman in Hawaii when I was stationed there. She's a brave American. She's incredibly eloquent. She's got great life experience. She's exactly what we need in that seat to help reform the intelligence community. She's going to do a great job, and I think it's offensive the way they're trying to paint her as some sort of foreign asset. That's just ridiculous. She's a smart woman. She's doing a hell of a job. I'm excited to see her in the spot.
By the way, she is a current lieutenant commander. She's still in the reserves. So she is still serving our military. Great to see you, Tim Sheehy. Best of luck.
So many good things are happening. Make sure we figure out something for Rudy Giuliani, though. But the writing is on the wall. The deep state's stranglehold on power is crumbling, from empty federal buildings where bureaucrats can't even turn on the lights to a DNC so broke they're running GoFundMe campaigns for laid off staffers. The old system is collapsing. Trump's team isn't just preparing for transition, they're preparing for transformation. So here's what I want to know from you. Which deep state agency should Trump tackle first when he takes office? Share your battle plan in the comments below. And for patriots ready to celebrate the swamp's demolition, check out our new MAGA Avengers collection at the Next News merch shop. These limited edition pieces feature our explosive MAGA Avengers design that's already triggering bureaucrats nationwide. Visit shop.nextnewsnetwork.com. Link below before these collector's items vanish into the classified section.